So when you are almost finished with your still life, one of the things I want you to keep in mind is that there's probably a few little things you can do for finishing touches to really polish off your drawing. So really focus on looking at your image and noticing where some of the details don't stand out. So one here, I can see that this is not standing out like it used to or like it does on the photo. So I might want to go back in and darken, and compare the value just a little bit more to the photo. Right? Another thing I often do is kind of go back in and reestablish highlights. So maybe my lightest areas aren't as light as they used to be because maybe they accidentally got smudged. So use that kneaded eraser to go back in and add things in. You can always, if you have to, use a bigger eraser too to kind of bring those things back, right? And then the last thing I do is I sharpen my pencil, right? I sharpen my pencil and I look and see if there's any little details that I can really bring out. So here underneath this highlight, this is like a bump, right? And so the shadow of it, I basically put a little bit of a line on it, and then I do a little bit of a gradual transition to really emphasize that bumpy part. So I don't want you outlining things, but I want you to look for those little details. So like on this part here on the stem, there's a groove. So maybe I want to put that darken just a little bit more so it doesn't seem like a flat surface. And so these little details typically need to be done with a sharpened pencil, right? To really pop and get those parts of the image to stand out, because the sharp point holding it more vertical is really going to define those edges. So notice how this really stands out much more than it did before, right? So use a nice sharp point. Don't outline things. Make sure it looks really 3D, but go back in and bring out your lights again. See if there's places that you have to make darker. Maybe you want to go in and tweak the shadows and just make them a little bit darker, with a few more layers. And then clean up edges and details without outlining.